Today, we are going to cover this very slick, fun animation, and it's not too bad to make in DaVinci Resolve minus one thing. So let's go ahead and hop straight into it. In DaVinci Resolve, this is going to be the end result here. Now, I have a few added spicy things on here, like this little shine effect and the drop-in animation. I am not going to cover those in this video, but I do have videos on how to do those. What we're going to focus on today is this little setup right in here. Now, if you're brand new to Fusion, this will feel and look intimidating, but I promise I'm going to hold your hand through the entire process. Let's start at the top. On your timeline, doesn't matter what timeline you're on, go up to your effects tab and drag and drop in a Fusion composition. Why? Because I said so. No, just kidding. Fusion compositions are great starting points to work with motion graphics inside of DaVinci Resolve, which is what we are doing. I made mine 4 seconds long. Go ahead and make yours as long as it needs to be, and then right click and hit open in Fusion page. This will be our starting point in Fusion. At first, we have a blank slate. And in fact, we have nothing displaying here. So let's go ahead and add in some nodes. The first node you should always add when starting in a Fusion composition is a background node. Why? Because I said so. No, again, I'm just kidding. I got jokes today. So the background node has this little handy dandy image tab setting that automatically sets the resolution of your Fusion composition, meaning it gives us a starting frame to work with, right? It gives us kind of like our blank palette. On the color page on your background node, make sure the alpha is set to 0. So that way you have a transparent background, unless you could have a color if you really wanted to. Next step, go ahead and drag in your images, and you're going to need two. You're going to need a front and a back image. So this is my front image here, Mr. Wartortle, and then this is my back image, and it's the back of the Pokemon card. Now, here's where things begin to get a little funky, because in order for this to work properly, these two images need to be the same size or as close to the same size as possible. Now you can go ahead and set this up in like a Photoshop or a Canva or Infinity ahead of time, but if all you have is DaVinci Resolve, this is how we're going to do it. If I didn't mention it already, I'm swapping back between the different node previews by hitting 2 on my number key right down here. And you can see what buttons I'm pressing over here in the bottom left-hand corner. I'm going to go ahead and drag both of these guys up here. So that way we have a little bit of real estate, because we're going to end up feeding them down here. Let's start with Mr. Wartortle. For the most part, we're in a decent starting point minus these little white edges here. So let's go ahead and clean that up. I'm going to go ahead and add in a rectangle node. This will mask out our image, and I click this little button right here. I'm going to resize our window by going up top here and hitting fit. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag the edges of our rectangle so that they are all the way at the edge, or we could just go over here and type in 1 and type in 1. And now what I'm doing is I just want to bring in the corner radius, so we clip that off. The rectangle node itself is plugged into the blue input over here on our image node. This is the mask input, right? It determines what gets hidden in Fusion. So let's go ahead and do the same thing for the back of our Pokemon card. I'm going to hit 2 on the node here, add in a rectangle node. And because I had my image selected when I added the rectangle node, it pre-fed it into the image. If yours doesn't do that, all you need to do is add in a rectangle node and then drag and connect it here. If you don't have a rectangular shape, you might need to use one of the other polygon or ellipse nodes to help mask out your image. So with this second rectangle node, I'm going to go ahead and bring it in here, and I'm going to do my best to mask it out. Hot tip, if you hold down the control key when working with the rectangle node, it doesn't move all the edges at once, right? So if I let go of that, we move both sides at once, but if I hold down the control key, I can just move one side at a time. Do your best here. A lot of times with stuff like this, it doesn't have to be perfect unless you really care, and I only kind of care with something like this. All right, there we go. So now we have them cut out properly. Now we need to get them to be the same size. Let's start with Mr. Wartortle, because it's going to be a little easier to work with. It's already cropped in to be the size that we need. So what we're going to do is we're going to add in a resize node, and I'm going to hit Control plus space to bring up our tool menu. This has all of our macros and tools inside of Fusion. I'm going to search for resize and hit add. Now, there are lots of ways of standardizing your size. You do not have to use a resize. I kind of like it, but it does get weird in certain instances. So if yours gets weird, maybe look into like a transform node. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed in Wartortle to the resize node here. I'm gonna hit keep frame aspect. This is important because if I go over to my resize node and hit 2, it's gonna stretch it to be whatever size you set here. But if I turn on keep frame aspect, we'll keep our starting aspect ratio. Now the size you decide to go with is really dependent on you and your needs. I'm gonna make mine 500 pixels wide. Why? Because I think 500 is a nice number. Okay, so now if I hit control on the scroll wheel to zoom out, I can see that our size is 500 by 700. So we're 500 pixels wide. Let's move on to the back of the card now. And this might involve one more step because unlike the War Turtle card, we have these floating edges over here, right? We've got these blank spaces that we do need to crop in. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit control space again and look for my crop node. Drag it down, and I'm gonna hit 2 to swap my preview to the crop node. Now the crop node does what it says. It crops your frame. So I can expand and contract, and it's gonna resize our frame. We don't need to worry about any of this. We're gonna go over to the auto crop tab and hit, auto crop. And there you go. Now all we need to do is resize this. So same thing as over here, control space, resize node. I'm gonna hit 2 on this resize node to swap the preview, keep frame aspect, change the width to 500. Now I'm gonna split our preview window just for a moment. You don't have to follow along with this step if you don't want to. I'm gonna go up to the upper right-hand corner, split it, and now I'm gonna hit 1 on our first resize node. And when I zoom out here, you'll see that the widths are both the same, but the height is ever so slightly different. You have to decide whether or not you care about this. If you do care, I would again recommend playing around with some like the transform nodes. For me, this is close enough. 8 pixels is fine in my book. Now we're ready to put these guys on top of each other. How are we gonna do that? Well, one of the methods that you could take is to use the 3D system and use a 3D camera, which is totally viable. It can give you some really cool angles and effects. I'm gonna keep it simple. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and merge resize 1 on top of the background down here by going output to output. We're gonna touch tips. I'm gonna do the same thing, touch tips, boom. Now if I hit 2 on our media out preview over here, you can kind of see them stacked on top of each other. I'm gonna collapse our preview window so we just have 1 now, and now we're looking at both. So we're kind of getting there. Let's go ahead and tackle the rotation aspect of this. Your first hunch might be to add a transform node, which could work, but what we're gonna be better off doing is adding a DVE node, which stands for Digital Video Effect. In essence, when I add this DVE node, and I'm gonna add it after our merge nodes down here, what a DVE node does is it adds faux 3D camera motion. So I could change the X rotation and I could change the Y rotation. Okay, so now we're getting somewhere. However, the problem that we're running into is that we're getting the backside of the card both times. That's not great. How do we fix that? Well, one of the things that you could do if you wanted to do this manually is just play around with the blending of the card, right? So let's say I rotate this to a halfway point and then I change the blending of the backside of the card. So that way, when I continue to rotate, we get the other card. That's a fine solution if you need to do this once, but we're going to set this up to work all the time for every instance. And the way that we're going to do this is with the switch node. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this up just a little bit so we have a little bit more space. And I'm going to hit control space to add in a switch node. Switch node, again, does exactly what you think it would. It switches between 2 sources. And you can actually configure this to have as many inputs as you want, but we're just going to use 2. So check this out. I'm going to delete one of the merge nodes. It really doesn't matter which one. I'm just going to delete this one over here. I'm going to hold down the shift key to insert it in our pipeline here. To do that, hold shift, hover right over the line itself. It can't be off to the right. It's got to be right on the line itself to insert it. And then I'm going to connect our other node to the other input. At first, no change, but now I can swap between the 2 inputs. Kind of slick, right? So again, what you could do is use that DVE node, go to where like it's kind of hidden on that angle, and then keyframe to swap and swap over. So that way when it rotates, there you go. This is going to be kind of a pain depending on the number of rotations that you want to have. So check this out. What we're going to do is we're going to use an expression. Now, when I say the word expression, it normally scares everybody away from the video, but I promise you're not going to have to come up with anything your own. I'm going to walk you through it. If you're newer to what expressions are, they're essentially a way of like relating terms together. So I could do something like this where I right click on my Y rotation, hit expression, and we get this little drop down menu to where, well, we can put really anything we want. So I can enter in 2 here and it changes our Y rotation to 2. Or a better use case a lot of times for expressions is to link it to other variables. So I could take our little pick whip here and connect it to the Z move variable. And now when I move Z move, it also is changing our Y rotation. So see, these 2 values stay linked. Anytime you hover over a variable in DaVinci Resolve, if you look in the very bottom left-hand corner, it will tell you that variable's name. So our Y rotation is DVE1 dot. Y rotation. Capitalization is important here. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up an expression for our switch node to swap depending on the angle that we're at. With your switch node, go over to the source, right click, expression, and then go ahead and copy and paste this in. It will be in the description or the pinned comment, depending on what YouTube lets me display. But it is this guy right here. And again, don't fret if this seems scary, but all we're doing is we're doing a little trig to look at the angle and saying, hey, if it's bigger than 0, use source 1. If it's less than 0, use source 0. I'm gonna copy this, paste it in here. And now when I rotate my Y angle, oh, look at that. Isn't that cool? Couple things to note. 1, warp total is backwards here. We will address that. 2, and this more importantly, when I use this switch node, it is very important that this variable matches whatever your DVE Y rotation variable is. So sometimes it could be your second DVE node. So you'll need to swap this for DVE2 Y rotation, or it might be DVE1_1_1 dot, right? So you really got to make sure you're using whatever your DVE node's name is. But warp total is backwards here. So all I'm going to do is add a transform node and go over to our flip property and flip it. And now we have a perfectly functioning card spin. The final version that I showed you guys at the beginning of the video just animates those properties. So this is the DVE node with the Y rotation animated over, it looks like about 2.5 seconds. I have that shine effect that I've done in a separate video here that lights it up. And then this drop-in effect is actually from the 5 levels of animation. And all we're doing is we're animating the Y position. I hope this video helps you guys. And before we finish, if you are trying to learn DaVinci Resolve and you need something a little bit more structured than bouncing around YouTube tutorials, well, we just finished an entire course that covers the essentials of editing and creating inside DaVinci Resolve. It's tailored to provide structure and help you feel confident with your editing decisions. It's not free, but for about the cost of a sandwich, you can master all of the essentials of DaVinci Resolve, including the edit page, the color page, and Fusion. If that sounds like it's the right fit for you, there will be a link in the description.